This episode is brought to you by Peloton. Looking for an easy workout? You're in the wrong place. Peloton Tread has what you need to challenge yourself. Need to be pushed to your limit? Their elite coaches will keep you on track to break past your goals. Whether you're looking to get stronger or faster, Peloton Tread has everything you need to become everything you want. Find your push, find your power. Peloton. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
With 7 yards to go, it's third down. See what I'm saying?
This would be a good third down song. Yes, absolutely.
Well, this is the theme song for The Ultimate Warrior, Jordan Riley's favorite wrestler growing up.
Got to play that when Jordan Riley has an interception or makes a big play, too.
Well, hey, if you want to get the boy pumped up against KU, give him a little Ultimate Warrior. It's a song called Unstable. He'll be unstable out there on the field, crushing some Jayhawks. Well, as Robert Lipson told me earlier today, recording Robert's World, it's bird season. As a matter of fact, the K-State soccer plays
tomorrow night.
KU, yeah, tomorrow night at Boozer, right?
Yes, they do.
K-State KU in Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Kickoff at 7:05, the official kickoff time. Power Cat Game Day will be at 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Also want to mention something different if you want to tailgate with the baseball cats. KU's in town for a scrimmage.
That's right.
That'll also take place on Saturday afternoon.
And, of course, it's homecoming. I was told that the homecoming festivities are actually going to happen in pregame. It's typically at halftime, but it'll be in pregame this year.
Yes, because of the time needed for both bands to perform their shows. Halftime is for bands.
I agree. Well, pretty the courtesy to the KU band.
Exactly.
I'll be honest with you, though. What was it, 3 years ago? 4 years ago? I announced for the band at the booth.
Uh-huh.
And
yes.
I took great pleasure. At the end of that read, it did not say Go Cats at the end of that read.
Yeah.
But I added Go Cats at the end of that read.
Yeah.
And I let the whole press box know that I was, Go Cats, it's here. And it was super loud. I love that so much. All right, let's get to our special guest here in hour number 2. Like always on Thursdays, we're joined by former K-State Wildcat Curry Sexton, of course, with Wildcat NIL, catsnil.com to support K-State in name, image, and likeness. All right, Curry, the last couple of weeks we've been getting updates on Land Watch 2024 because you joined us from a field trying to get this plot of land. Where are we at on getting this deal done?
We're just in the process of submitting a proposal, so it's coming along slowly but surely.
No pressure or anything.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure, but pressure's good, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sure it's big dollar signs. I asked this question probably watching too many movies, but at any point when you're looking at the land, do you ever touch or grab the dirt or pick it up and to examine it?
No, I can't say that I do. Maybe the people who actually, who are trying to make something off the land do that, but I'm just a lawyer. So no, I don't have a need to get my hands in the dirt too much.
Could be a power play, like the guy that's maybe looking to get rid of the land.
Like Les Miles
Oh,
back in the day.
Yeah, in his grass.
Oh, I forgot about that. I was thinking, like, as a positive, like, boy, this guy's grabbing the dirt. He must really know his stuff. Or he probably thinks you're like, I don't know, you're somebody that likes to buy sand at gift shops or something. I don't know. All right, Curry, 45-18 over the West Virginia Mountaineers. Blowout in the second half. One-score game in the first half. Let's talk about Avery for just a moment. His passer rating lately, it's through the roof. It was like the second best among Power 4 quarterbacks last week. He's great on third and fourth down. The pocket presence. I'm going to share Cole Manbeck's tweet from earlier this week saying that Avery now owns 4 of the top 10 QBRs in the Chris Kleiman era. He's only started 8 games, so the offense is more explosive. I'd love to hear your breakdown on why Avery in the passing game has been much better these last 3 games.
I think it's a combination of things. I think one, it's you're seeing everybody getting settled into their respective roles. I mean, you're now 8 games into the Connor Riley era as our offensive coordinator, and you're seeing him improve drastically week to week. I think he's doing a tremendous job, he and Coach Wells, of getting the guys into the right play calls and play calls where, hey, there's obvious, there's easy ways to execute. We're seeing, the offensive line is improving. They're doing a nice job. There's a little bit more continuity there. Obviously, last week we didn't have Carver Willis, but the same core guys are playing every snap every week, and that's important. And then we're just seeing Avery grow week in and week out, which is exactly what you want of your young star quarterback. I think we talked about this early on, leading up to the season, but I think there was the expectations that were being placed on Avery from the jump were probably a little bit unfair. I mean, the New York Post coming out and saying he's their Heisman pick. Is that way off base at this point? No, but a little bit aggressive, and so I think there was an expectation that this guy was going to light the world on fire from the jump, and we're seeing him evolve into the type of player that we all expected him to be, and so really promising growth in a rapid amount of time for a young guy. Just shows you that the potential is just absolutely through the roof. This is a guy who early in the season was struggling in the pocket, was struggling to go through his progressions and make connect on certain throws. He didn't seem to be overly comfortable in the pocket from time to time. And now here, 7 games into the season, he just beat a good West Virginia football team on the road in a night game in a tough environment, where he wasn't as mobile as he typically is, and basically chewed them up in the pocket for 300 yards passing.
Yeah, the Mountaineers.
That development is just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, the Mountaineers did not want K-State to run. They didn't want to get embarrassed like Colorado did with DJ Giddens juking on jabronis all night and putting up big numbers. So K-State made him pay in the passing game. Avery just finished 2 yards shy of 300. If he would have got there, he would have been one of just a very few sophomores to pass for 300 yards in a game. And against West Virginia, I mean, there are a number of impressive throws that are all in their own way fun to watch and fun to develop. From the touchdown pass to Jaden Jackson, the route that was ran by DJ Giddens turns into a 50-yard play. He beat a linebacker. So many the throws at the tight ends as well. Curry, have you picked out a play, if you were to pick one, that displayed the most of Avery Johnson's growth in the passing game? Is there one that stands out the most?
That's a great question. I'll pick 2. One is the throw to Jaden Jackson, the play before the deep touchdown pass. You're getting a lot of soft zone coverages from the West Virginia defense, and Jaden, who's to the boundary, runs about a 20-yard curl route, and so you're getting soft zones. So you've got a defensive back over the top. You've got a linebacker right underneath the throw, and Avery does a great job of standing in the pocket with a little bit of pressure at his face, layering the throw right over the top of that linebacker, that flat defender, and underneath of that cornerback over the top side of Jaden. I thought that was a super impressive throw. I mean, that was an elite level throw. But to me, I think the most impressive throw that he made on Saturday night was the throw to Will Ancio for the touchdown. I mean, it's a play where I think it's 3rd and goal. We've gotten stuffed on the 2 prior plays. The one, he rolls a little bit out to the right. He's got pressure on his face immediately, and as he's moving to his right, he throws an absolute strike to Will Ancio. I mean, hits him right between the numbers. Will Ancio was not open on that play. I mean, he had the guy boxed out a little bit, but he was blanketed in coverage, and Avery just puts it right on his chest. Where Will boxes the guy out and makes the play. That was the most impressive play to me. He's on the move. He's got a guy in his face. He's throwing in tight coverage, and he throws an absolute dart. To me, that was the most impressive throw that he made on Saturday night.
Yep, I agree. I mentioned in the first hour that Will Ancio throws the most impressive one to me. So, the difficulty on that play was just had to be a great throw, and it was. And shout to the offense to just do what they did against West Virginia of 298 passing yards in the rushing game. Did put up some big numbers in the in garbage time, but the numbers did look better at the end of the day. Going to the defense, there were some struggles early on. The quarterback run game, K-State just really hadn't seen a whole lot of that. And the tackling as well, but don't want to take away what the defense did in the second half where they only give up the one touchdown. What did you think about the defense against West Virginia?
I thought it was solid. I mean, it was a mixed bag for me. I mean, obviously holding them to 18 points, and one of which was a late touchdown against our backups is impressive. I thought we were solid against the run. Obviously, struggled a lot against the QB run game, which is not ideal, especially as we're going into a game against Jalen Daniels, who's got the ability to run a little bit, and so want to see us shore that up. Tackling was not good, which is something we've seen from time to time this season, and so want to see that improve. Want to see that improve this week, especially as we're going up against Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal and their group of wide receivers who can be slippery. But at the end of the day, we made some big plays. I mean, the Jack Fabris interception early, the Marquise Siegel pick six. We found a way to get pressure on the quarterback from time to time. I mean, we knocked Garrett Green out of the game. There were some good things in there Saturday night, but I do think that the inability to stop the QB run game and the inability to tackle from time to time was not ideal. And honestly, we may have dodged a little bit of a bullet by Garrett Green not returning to that game in the second half. And so mixed bag, better in the secondary, but we've got to tackle better.
Curry, the last time KU beat K-State in football, it was November 1st of 2008. We didn't even have iPads. Instagram wasn't a thing. Netflix streaming wasn't even a thing yet. It's been so long ago. We were both in high school the last time KU beat K-State. Now, of course, what K-State takes pride in is recruiting Kansas, and I looked up the numbers earlier. K-State has 58 players from Kansas. KU has 29. If you look at the two deep, K-State has 22 players. KU has 4. Why are those numbers for K-State so important when it comes to, as a Kansas kid, as a former K-State player, why are those so important to this rivalry?
I think those. I think you'd have to go back and really do a deep data dive. But I think history, or I think the information would tell you that in the history of this rivalry, at least in the last 30, 35 years, the team who's got a stronger influence of Kansas kids is the team who has more success in this rivalry and more success generally. I think for the last 35 years, outside of the Ron Prince era, Coach Snyder and Coach Klanderman have placed more of an emphasis on Kansas players than KU has. And then in that Ron Prince era, where he didn't place an emphasis on Kansas kid and Mark Mangino did, you started to see the tide turn a little bit. Mm-hmm. KU went on that 3-year winning streak.
Jake Sharp.
And so I think the proof is in the pudding. Kansas kids make a huge difference from a cultural perspective. I mean, these are kids who know, they're a lot of them farm kids. They have great work ethics. They have high integrity. They're going to be great special teams players. They're going to be great in the locker room. And from this rivalry's perspective, they understand what it means to be a part of this rivalry, and they understand how much it means to beat KU and in K-State's case continue this streak. And I think that permeates throughout a locker room. I was telling somebody the other day that it really struck me last year after K-State came back and won and more, and just to see the reaction from the players on the field. You could tell that game meant a lot more to them than some of the other games prior to that, and I think that just speaks to the level of buy-in in this particular football game, and that's been the case for the last 15 years. And so I think Kansas kids play a huge role in the success of this rivalry, and a huge role in the success of a football program. And I'm really, really glad that Coach Kleiman and Taylor Bratt and the rest of them have placed a huge emphasis on Kansas kids for the last 6-7 years.
I think Chris Kleiman has done this in the past, maybe Bill Snyder as well, and bring back former players to talk about these rivalries and these big games. Did you ever do anything like that in previous teams after you played at K-State, talk about the rivalry to the team?
I have not, no. I think they do. They might do a little bit of that. I know what Kleiman does do is he'll have he will have current players, maybe upperclassmen, stand up and talk and explain to the team what this game means. And so maybe a Hadley Panzer, a fifth-year guy from Kansas, or an Austin Moore, a sixth-year guy from Kansas, a Des Purnell, some of these kids who grew up in the state who've grown up around the rivalry, who maybe got recruited by both schools, or who maybe, wanted to get recruited by both schools, but KU didn't give them any attention, have them stand up each day after practice and explain to the team what this means. I think the funny story, back when I played, and I don't think they still do this, but back when I played, every year during the KU week, Robert Lipson would come to practice, and he came to the locker room every single week. But every year during the KU week, he'd come to practice, and he'd come out and he'd watch me into practice, and then he would talk to the team. He'd give us a pump up speech, and then we'd break from a knee, and we'd go and we'd run a trick play that Robert designed. And I'll never forget. I think it was 2011, but it may have been 2012. It was one of those 2 years, and I think both those years we were undefeated when we went to play KU. And Robert's speech was the whole speech. I mean, it was absolutely hilarious. It was just, this is a trap game. You will lose this game. And I mean, he just kept repeating that we were going to lose the game, and it was. I mean, everybody, of course, it was taken well by the entire team. We still laugh about it to this day, but that was the kind of pump up speech we got. We got 10 or 12 years ago. So we really enjoyed those. Those really got us motivated.
I'll have to ask Zach about that on Power Cat Game Day. I actually had Robert in today to record Robert's World for Power Cat Game Day, and he kind of gave a speech. He was banging the table. He was really fired up. Honestly, I was motivated. I was so motivated and so moved, and I felt close. Like I think I called Robert Bob at one point. I was so jacked to have this game be played on Saturday. Yeah, Robert, you're going to hear that speech on Power Cat Game Day. I promise you that in the 3:00 hour this Saturday. All right, we'll wrap up with just what do you think? Keys to this game against the Jayhawks for that 16th straight win, so the streak can start driving legally. What do you think about this game against KU?
Yeah, I think a couple keys for me. One is continue to be good against the run. You stop Devin Neal, you've got a great chance of winning this football game. And then I think the biggest thing for me is just getting off to a good start. This is a KU team that's the core of this team has had a lot of success the last couple of years, and we're supposed to be a top 20 team going into this year, and just haven't had that success this year. But they're still a quality football team coming off of a big win last week. And so if you don't get off to a hot start, if you let KU get up to an early lead, you're going to see them build a lot of confidence. They're going to take the crowd out of the game, and then the game's kind of the momentum of the game is going to change. Now, if we get on them early and keep the crowd in the game, and get the crowd really on top of that football team, with a quarterback who has a tendency to throw the ball to the other team, I think you're going to see the Cats have a good game on Saturday night. So I think a fast start is key to this football game, and I think if we get out to a fast start, I think we're going to win by a couple of scores.
All right, Curry, as always, I appreciate your time. Good stuff once again this week, and we'll talk again next week. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thanks, guys.
Curry Sexton, former K-State Wildcat, former 1,000-yard receiver back in 2014, and, of course, is the man with Wildcat NIL. CatsNIL.com on ways that you can support the K-State Wildcats. And one of the most important things to support K-State and college athletics in these days with name, image, and likeness. We take a timeout, and when we come back, 6 predictions need to be made by each of us. I'm getting a little sick and tired of somebody winning every single week. So things need to change. I have refocused. I've recalculated my strategy in picking games. And Mitch in Vegas is after these words.
You're in the game on News Radio KMAN.
How lucky can one guy be? I kissed her and she kissed
Well, that first line is spot on for AJ. Another 5-1 week for AJ Shaw, 35-21. Where was this for Stump the Shaw?
Wow.
That's a great question.
Wow.
Maybe just luck. And I thought Mike, who came on the show the one time and stumped the Shaw, he made the comment about that game just being luck. A lot of this is just luck. That's the thing about Vegas.
Oh, okay. Knowledge plays a part as well for both, I think. Sometimes you just get a little unlucky. Think we should have a rematch between you two?
Oh, boy.
There's a bye week coming up in a couple of weeks after the Houston game.
I don't know. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried to face him again. I'll be honest. I'm a little intimidated. He definitely shot my confidence that one time I played him.
I kind of miss Stump the Shaw.
The listeners probably do a little bit too.
Have a little football season one-off. All right, let's make 6 picks. Here's the rest of your standings. Actually, everybody else had a great week. 4-2 for everybody else. So AJ in the lead, 35-21 is his record. I'm 30-26, so I'm 5 games back. 2 back from me, the people, 28-28, and Troy as well, 28-28. We start, as always, in Week 9, KU K-State, the 122nd edition of the Dillon Sunflower Showdown. K-State has won 15 in a row, and I have a few nuggets here. How about this? The all-time series in Manhattan, K-State has 28 wins. KU has 28 wins. So K-State can take over the series history with a win in Manhattan.
Get above water. Oh, my.
Yeah, little light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, my.
Even though KU still has a lead in the overall series by 12 games, K-State can take the lead in the home series.
Well.
All right, the line is at K-State minus 10, AJ.
K-State's going to make it 16 in a row. They're going to take down KU. I'm going with the Cats.
The people, it's K-State by 96%. I mean, heck, the last time KU beat K-State in football, Avatar wasn't even out yet.
Really?
Felt like that was out 20 years ago. A movie that just came out, Iron Man.
The Cubs hadn't won a World Series in 100 years as well.
Troy, what do you think? Cats minus 10.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty simple call. That's Cats by 90. To borrow internet memeology.
Yes, sir.
I am taking KU seriously because I know they have talent. There's a ton of seniors. Actually, Jalen Daniels, I believe, technically is a redshirt junior. So he could play another year. He still has his COVID year available.
Right.
He's that old. Heck, I believe the first time he ever played in Manhattan, he was punting.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's true.
So I could give you a bunch of numbers. I'll give you more keys in our next segment, but really it's just going by the history. Nobody should ever pick KU to win this game until they actually win the game. It's like, put the past couple of years of basketball behind you, but previous to that, KU streak in Big 12 championships, why would you vote for anybody else to win the conference except for KU?
Right.
Because nobody's stopping them. I don't see K-State being stopped by KU this year, as the vote by the people now drops to 95% for K-State. I do right now. I have the feeling that I'm maybe a little bit cautious in my prediction, but right now I do have it by 2 scores, and I'm going to go ahead and take K-State to cover against KU. All right, week number 2 sends us. This is a tomorrow night game, 9:30 on CBS SN from Las Vegas, Nevada. Number 17, Boise State at UNLV. This is a big game.
This is.
Because both teams are 5-1. They're both undefeated in conference play. Heck, maybe the team that wins this game with Liberty losing to Kennesaw State,
right,
of all teams last night, maybe puts them in the driver's seat to be the favorite to be the Group of 5 representative for the college football playoff. This is the rematch of last year's conference championship game, which Boise State won by 24 points. AJ, Boise State by 3.5 on the road.
I disrespected UNLV when they played KU. They're a good football team. Even though I think Ashton Genty should be a Heisman Trophy winner, I'm going to take the upset. I'm going to go with the Runnin' Rebels, even though that was their basketball nickname.
The people, Boise State, 66.7%, so 2/3 of the vote.
Yeah, my one concern for UNLV in this game is the ability to control the run of Boise State and Genty. I almost believe that this could be a game that puts him not just as a mentionable for the Heisman Trophy, but squarely in the crosshairs of Heisman Trophy watch. I don't have a lot of confidence in UNLV's defense going into that game.
Again, the people going Boise State. So, what was it last week that Boise State played Hawaii?
Yes.
and Hawaii actually statistically been really good against the run. It was only a 28-7 win for Boise State. I say only because Miami's not that good. Hawaii's not that good. But I think you got to go with the Heisman favorite. He still got his yards. He was still over 200 yards against a good running defense that is Hawaii. So I have to go Boise State minus 3.5. Game 3, how about this one? From MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, number 12 Notre Dame, number 24 Navy. Navy is 6-0 for the first time since 1978. Notre Dame has won 5 straight, but they're 6-1. Notre Dame, AJ, favored by 13.5.
I hate Notre Dame. I do not like Notre Dame. I haven't liked Notre Dame since I was a kid.
Suck it.
I'm going to have to go with the Irish, unfortunately.
Oh. I was going to say, takes Navy. He's going to, if he's wrong, he's going to have to say 5 Hail Marys or something.
I'm going to be perfectly honest about this one. I am intrigued by this matchup because for the first time in a long time, there is actually some juice about military academy football this year.
Yeah, isn't Army undefeated?
They are.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, Air Force is the one that's down. They lost to Colorado State last weekend.
Oh, boy.
And so, this is a much better matchup than it has been over the last 25 years. And even then, Navy got an upset in there. I still struggle, though, and go, no, I can't see it happening. Notre Dame wins that.
Let's see what the people – did I say what the people say? They
You
say
did not.
Navy, 74.5%. Give me the Irish because I don't think Navy has been tested this year. They've had a pretty weak schedule. Their toughest game was against Memphis. I don't think Memphis has the best offense in the world, and they put up 44 points against Navy. Navy's defense, if numbers look pretty good, but again, they gave up 44 to Memphis. Notre Dame is a lot better than that. I think there's a rude awakening coming for Navy in this one, so give me the Irish minus 13.5. All right, next is Game 4. We have in the Big Ten, another big one. Number 20, Illinois at number 1, Oregon. I say big one. It's just really based off rankings. Illinois 6-1. Oregon, the number 1 team in the nation for the first time since 2012, is 7-0. Big line here. AJ, Ducks, 21.5 at home.
You know, I love my mother to death. She's an Illinois grad, but I got to go with Oregon. They've been a great story this year, but I got to go with the Ducks.
Well, the people will agree with you. They're going Oregon, but it's close, 58%.
I'm of the mind, too, that this is Oregon's victory to be had. Illinois, again, tremendous story, but Oregon has found ways to get wins to this point, and that's why they're sitting in that number 1 spot. I'm going with the Ducks.
21.5. I know they're at home, but I think that's too many points. You know, Illinois, they were good enough against Penn State to hang around. They weren't really scoring points, but they hung around. I think I'm gonna bet on Illinois to hang around in this one. 21.5 points. Illinois hangs around, they cover, but they're not going to win. All right, Game 5, we got a couple of left. Game 5, out to Old Nashville, Tennessee. Number 5, Texas, at number 25, Vanderbilt.
Did you see the new stadium enhancements at Vanderbilt this weekend?
Yeah, I saw the tweet because of, boy, we could talk about that. Because Texas fans throwing the beer bottles or whatever on the field after the pass interference call against Texas, that was an interception, which it was not pass interference. And, like, a parent giving in to a crying child at a
awful.
wherever,
just awful.
Like just begging and screaming for whatever it wants. The refs gave in to the Texas fans booing and throwing crap.
Yeah.
And they just, no pass interference.
Got bullied into it.
Meanwhile, no flag on Texas for the littering of the field. But Texas, AJ, favored by 18.5. By the way, 13th meeting all time. Vandy leads the series. 8-3-1.
Wow.
But here's the deal. They haven't met since 1928.
Texas did not look good against Georgia, but Vandy's not going to have a repeat of their magic against Alabama. Give me the Horns.
Let me give the people real quick. People, Texas, 65%.
Yeah, as much as I would love to see Texas take the nosedive, I think that they're going to find a way to recover in this one and pick off a win at Vanderbilt, and add a little bit to it because of the netting.
I was gonna go Texas as well, but since everybody else is going Texas, why not Vanderbilt?
You contrarian, you.
I'm gonna go Vanderbilt just because. No real reason.
No wonder he's 5 games back of me.
I mean,
wow.
I'm second place. That's pretty good. I'm like 5 games above 500 or something like that.
Man.
Yeah, give me Vanderbilt. Last game, Cincinnati at Colorado. Big 12 after dark. 5.5 point spread for the Colorado Buffaloes at home. Both teams are 5-2 and 3-1 in conference play, AJ.
Good for Cincinnati winning last week, by the way. Buffs going to take Colorado to get this win. Should be a pretty easy game for them.
The people 82% going Colorado?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Colorado as well. I think that they want to definitely show themselves out a little better after what has taken place the last couple weeks.
Maybe kind of an elimination game for Big 12 championship game. But Travis Hunter is a lot healthier. He's going to be contributing much more, according to Deion Sanders at a press conference this week. Both teams are exceeding expectations, that's for sure. But it's a home game. This game kicking off at 10:15 Eastern time for Colorado. Or for Cincinnati, rather. So I'm going to go Colorado as well.
It's a big game. Both teams are 3-1 in the Big 12.
Let's wrap up Mitch in Vegas. When we come back, let's hear a little bit from defensive coordinator Joe Klanderman and some defensive keys for the Cats against the Jayhawks. Coming up next.
Your home for K-State sports. This is The Game on News Radio, KMAN.
All right, defensive keys for K-State against KU coming up in a moment. Earlier today, the K-State media, minus myself, of course, because a little too close to start time for me, but we get the audio afterwards. And let's hear a few moments from K-State defensive coordinator Joe Klanderman from earlier today.
What jumps out to you about the KU offense?
I think they're tremendously experienced. A lot of those names are names that we've been seeing for many years. Huge advantage to them to be able to work together for so long. Even though there's a change in coordinator, I think a lot of the concepts are still very similar. There's a great, probably I would imagine, a great rapport with the quarterback and receivers. They're a good offense. They're a really good offense, and they are complicated with the things that they do, and they execute it well.
Kansas is 2-5. If you get the sense that your locker room's not taking them lightly, though?
No worries there.
But with that 2-5 record, they've got some work to do if they want to kind of salvage something from this season. Is this an expect the unexpected type of game and not have anything at you?
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with them, and honestly, we're not talking too much about what their record is, or we know that they have the ability to beat anybody, just as West Virginia had the ability to beat anybody, just as Colorado had the ability to beat anybody. That's what the Big 12 is right now, and I don't think that we're by any means feeling like we're high and mighty just because we won a few games. I think we know that we got to go out there and earn it every week, and I think this means a lot to our locker room. It means a lot to the Kansas kids that we have on our team. It means a lot to the community. It means a lot to us personally. So our guys will be ready to go.
What do you think your secondary has been able to create turnovers the way it has the last few games?
Guys are playing with good technique. I think guys are finishing plays. I can think back to a few situations earlier in the year where we maybe had balls in our hands that didn't finish them, and now we're just putting them away. And I don't think there's any magic formula. I always kind of say that about turnovers. I think they come sometimes in bunches, and sometimes there's a little bit of a drought. And I think our guys have it on their heads all the time, and they're capitalized. We got some good playmakers back there.
Aside from tackling, what do you need to clean up in the QB run game when defending that? Because that'll be a threat again this week.
Yeah. I thought we took some poor angles last week. I thought we overran the ball on a number of occasions. I thought we got maybe a little bit greedy in some of our rushes at times, although that got corrected, and it got much better as the game went on. But, rushing past the quarterback and doing some things with our lanes that were allowing a guy that we knew was going to get out and go to get out and go, and it isn't any different this week. You get a tremendous athlete back there at the quarterback spot, and if we're not smart in how we attack him, he's going to get chunk plays.
Did you coach that game any differently in the second half after their quarterback was no longer available?
We'd watched their backup quarterback, and we knew who he was, and we knew they didn't change much. I mean, he was a good athlete the same way. We knew they were going to run quarterback draw. We knew they were going to do the same offense. He'd been in there. Now, I have a lot of respect for Garrett Green. I think he's a tough competitor in that, but we did not change one thing. We knew, I think, that hit at the end of the first half happened right in front of me. I saw it, and I saw him get up, and I thought, that might be a problem for them. And sure enough, in the second half, he didn't come out, and we talked very little about what we were going to change.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. That's Joe Klanderman with the K-State media earlier today. Keys for the K-State defense against KU was mentioned during the press conference. Expect the unexpected. Yes, KU has lost 5 games. They were in all of them. But when you rack up a record like 2-5, only so little room for error when it comes to bowl eligibility. However, I don't think KU's thinking about bowl eligibility. They're thinking about beating K-State and pulling out all the stops. Remember back in 2012 when Charlie Weiss was the coach for the KU Jayhawks, and they scored on their first 2 drives. They busted out, I believe, a double pass. There was a fake field goal. There was a fake punt. They were doing whatever they could to make sure they stay on the field and score points, and they did. K-State ends up pulling away later on, but I mean, could we see some of that in this game? Potentially. If I was KU, I would. Absolutely, because K-State's been victim of trick plays in the past. It's, as a matter of fact, K-State does not have a very good success rate at all against the trick plays. So if there is a double pass or an end around or a flea flicker, a halfback pass, hook and ladder, annexation of Puerto Rico, whatever, I expect it. Because I'm sure they've seen on film that K-State's been hurt a couple of times on some trick plays. Stop the run is pretty big as well. For one, I think KU is most likely to make their mistakes in the passing game for sure. Daniel Highshaw, maybe not playing in this game. We've heard from a couple of people that it sounds like he's not going to play. I don't think he played in last year's game, but he's their second best rusher. When it comes to like backup running backs, I mean, more like a DJ Giddens to Deuce Vaughn, he can be pretty good.
Right. 50
carries this year for 318. Led the team 6.5 yards per carry. I mean, that's a big piece to not have in this game. But I do worry a little bit about the quarterback run game. Jalen Daniels averages about 5 runs a game. I wonder if there will be more of that because of K-State's, kind of rough there a little bit against Garrett Green. In his running game, he had over 80 yards in that first half against K-State. Did not play in the second half. Was that a break for K-State? I thought it was a little bit. Devin Neal is a dude. About 700 yards this season, 7 touchdowns, burned K-State last year. So it's a pretty big key to try to limit. K-State's got one of the best rushing defenses in the nation. Can they limit the KU rushing attack? Because KU has been one of the best like K-State in running the football.
One of the things, though, that we have not seen anyone really do with any effectiveness, though they did last year, Kansas running the option. That was a game breaker in the first half.
Yeah, that sucked.
Do you think that they pull that one out as a secret weapon to start on Saturday night?
I don't know. If they just go right back to the screenplay, I don't think K-State's going to have too many issues in
this
game.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I'm trying to think. I don't think K-State has seen much option play.
The other question is, do they really want to put Jalen Daniels in that spot of running the option?
Well, Cole Bauer there for a while was not too bad against K-State either.
Right.
He made some bad decisions there, at the end.
But I'm talking about a guy who has had a history of injuries.
That's just what I'm saying, It's like, risk it a little bit. Got Cole Ballard. He was okay against K-State last year. Also, when we were talking to Henry Greenstein in the first hour, and he mentioned that, KU doesn't shift a whole, or I should say they don't, I should say the opposite. KU does a lot of shifting and a lot of motion, so K-State's got to be on their toes about that stuff. And then another thing I think is third down. KU is one of the best teams in the nation on third down offensively, 50% on the season, but K-State's defense is third best in the Big 12 on third down.
Turning them over, okay.
So KU has only gone for fourth down 10 times this year. That's third least in the Big 12. They've got 7 of those. So, third down. Pretty big against the Jayhawks. Of course, plenty more of this. Power Cat Game Day, 3 o'clock, Saturday afternoon. Myself, along with Mason Voth, Tim Everson, and Zach Nemechek, is back this week. 2 full hours of coverage talking K-State, KU, Sunflower Showdown. The third longest uninterrupted rivalry in FBS college football. We take our final break. Ask us anything after these words.
Miss any of the show?
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Never fear, sports fan. Check out the Game podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and newsradiokman.com.
Real quick, a couple more of these last time KU beat K-State things. George Bush was president, but I believe it was actually 3 days later the election took place, and then Barack Obama was elected president. Boy, how about this? It's been so long. The number 1 golfer in the world, Tiger Woods.
Oh, man. Oh.
I think he's only been number 1 golfer in the world since like 2010, and it was for a little while, I guess, but very rare in the 2010s for Tiger to be number 1. Gas prices may trigger some folks $1.89.
In 2008?
According to this, yeah.
I remember gas prices being $5 that year.
Well, I figured it would be a lot higher because wasn't the economy kind of in the crapper?
That was the year of the meltdown.
Yeah. All right, anyway, go ahead, AJ.
Really quick, Vikings-Rams, Thursday Night Football, 6:30 here tonight on News Radio KMAM. Did you guys ever have an imaginary friend?
No. I never, no, I don't think so. No.
I can't speak for, say, if I was under the age of 5 or so, but in general, no.
I don't recall hey, this is my bud Pete. Where's Pete? Oh, Pete's right here.
I had 3 imaginary friends, but I can't remember the name of 2 of them.
Oh, boy.
Any of them still hang around?
Heck no. It's been 20 years, man.
Yeah, the Shaw.
A little clean. Yeah. Oh, the Shaw. Yeah, there you go. No imaginary friends. Actually, the best friend I had growing up, actually, we became friends when we were like 5 years old. So, yeah, I mean, my memory doesn't go too further back than that. So, shout out to Jason, lives in the Sacramento, California area.
You ever still see him?
Yeah, saw him a couple of years ago. His dad still lived around here. Unfortunately, he passed away, but when he came back to see his dad, we hung out for a little bit. Went to his wedding. It was on a vineyard out in that area. Huge mansion. The dinner was chicken Alfredo, prime rib, shrimp, and there was something else. It was the best dinner I had ever had.
Can't go wrong with that.
Exactly.
If I was a weightlifter, I was in paradise. Let's wrap it up. That's the last live show of the week. Best of tomorrow. And, of course, Power Cat Game Day, 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. Getting you set for the 122nd edition of the Dillon's Sunflower Showdown. For AJ, Troy, I'm Mitch. Go Cats.